From Caleb Brooks. Do you
All
go
right.
with the Shabbat and each day starting with evening before or at dawn of the new day? Some people were saying Shabbat Shalom last night in a podcast, so what do you believe?
Yeah, so we discussed this like very early in the first couple of chapters. Critical Inception will be there. Woot woot. Yeah, a lot of people still hold true to the tradition of the day starting at sunset. However, the thing that changed my life about that is a friend of mine asked me, "Why do you start the day at sunset?" And that was it. And I was like, "You jerk." Okay? Because he knew that I was obsessed with searching the scriptures to validate my own belief system. So everything I believe now may change tomorrow if I read something that's different. And this was something that I painstakingly searched over for a couple of months because I didn't want to just jump on board and say, okay, the Sabbath is only during the daylight hours. But what I did is I looked up everywhere in the scriptures in the Old Testament, the Hebrew, everywhere where it said morning, evening, today, tomorrow, yesterday, night, day, all these words that talk about when a day is or what a day consisted of. And what I found is there's a few places where it could go either way, based on the context, but there's many locations where it could only be the daylight hours. Yom only includes the daylight hours. From Boker to Arev. Boker is the broken through seen light, and Arev is the mingled with darkness. So you could say Arev, being translated as evening, could also be translated as the breaking of dawn as well. So, the mingling with darkness, that could be dawn to dusk, right? And the seen light part of the day, which is where you actually see the sun. So the Arev and Boker that is included in describing the day is there very clearly. And chapter 1, verse 1, chapter 1, day 1, very clearly distinguishes Yom is light. And he called the light Yom. That would mean not the dark time. That would mean the 6 days of work that he used to create the earth were during the daylight hours. He wasn't a midnight shifter. And I think that's not a natural thing to do. Not to say that people don't need to do that in this culture, because it sucks, and I've done it many times myself, but I'm saying we are not designed to work at night. And if you read about descriptions of people who are out at night, it's always bad throughout the description of Scripture. The people who are robbing you, they're doing it at night. The people who are doing stuff in secret, they're doing it at night, right? And the only people that are supposed to work at night are the watchmen. So these are the people who would watch and take guard because the bad stuff happens at night, because we're not supposed to be night dwellers. And the reason, part of the problem is, I'm not saying that we should all be Amish, but I'm saying part of the problem is technology that we have lights during all the night.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was quite an effort to illuminate an area at nighttime. Yes. Boker Tov is, yes, translated typically as good morning. But it's more like functional breaking of light. So that's more literal translation. And Frank Logic, I hope you got my text this morning, dude, because it's so amazing. I think it's one of the best ones. So, okay. Let's get into the chapter.
All right, yeah.
But look, I get asked this all the time also, just to throw it out there,
Mm-hmm.
is how do you know the Sabbath is a Sabbath? And look, you have to distinguish it for yourself. You have to judge for yourself. Don't take my word for it. But the way that I felt about it, because I've looked into many calendars, many, okay, and I've researched them painstakingly because I don't want to be wrong. The way that I see it is 6 days you do all your work, and the seventh is a Sabbath, and it's been preserved not only, just by, 7 days a week, because they've tried to change it to a 3-day week, a 4-day week, and a 10-day week throughout history, and it never worked. The other thing is that throughout different cultures on the earth today, they still call that seventh day something similar to Shabbat. They all have the S, B, and T. of the description of the word in their translation. So that's carried on as well. And there's also some, claims. Okay, I've not validated them, but there's also some claims that there are things in nature that literally rest on the Shabbat. So investigate that for yourself. Take it for what it's worth. All right.
All
I'm
right.
good.
Okay. Chapter